Hello everybody. Okay, so in this video we'll talk about reading multiple choice, choose multiple answer. Okay, so let's begin. So this is how the task looks like. You'll be given a text. It's a lengthy text. It will be about 300 words, up to 300 words. And then there will be a question and some options. Okay, these options can be 5 to 7. 5 options or 7 options. And we will have to select more than one correct answer, because see, you can select 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever you want, but more than one answers are correct, so at least two answers are correct. So that is the task. Text is given, which is up to 300 words. Question and multiple choices, we have to select at least two, because obviously at least two are going to be correct. Okay, so how to select, how many to select, I'll explain you, but at least two are correct. Okay, so that's what I put up in the slide. So about up to 300 words is the text length. Okay, one trick here, each paragraph will be approximately 50 to 60 words. So rather than counting the words, nobody can count the words in the real exam, but if you can count the paragraphs, right, there are four paragraphs here. So this text is going to be about 200 to 240 words. That's a rough idea, because we should attempt, the approach should be to attempt those questions which have shorter texts. That's why I've just given a rough idea. So that's one trick here. Make sure you understand this. Each paragraph is 50 to 60 words. Count the paragraphs to understand the length of text. And again, I'm saying for every reading task, your speed should be at least 150 words. I've explained this again in the earlier video previously. Must have at least 150 words per minute. Your speed must be, if not, just increase it. Do some practice. Check your speed here and increase your reading speed. Okay. Okay, this is the same slide which says that 5 to 7 responses are available. These are 5 here. Okay, at least 2 are correct. Okay, now number of questions, there will be a minimum of 2 multiple choice multiple answer questions and maximum of 3. So the third one is optional. Some may get it, some may not get it. So that's the number of questions. So scoring, so many people have confusion in the scoring of multiple choice multiple answer. So let's clear that confusion. So there is negative marking. This is the first of 3 items in the test where points are deducted for incorrect response. Okay, how marks are deducted, I'll explain you in the next slide. But what we need to understand here is, for 1 point for each correct response, minus 1 for each incorrect response, and 0 is the minimum score. So minimum score is 0. It cannot be negative. Minimum score cannot be -1 or -2. Okay, so I'll just put possibilities here. What are the possible things and how the score is done. This is just a couple of examples, not all possibilities. So let's take first possibility. So let's say total number of options given are 5, and let's say actual number of correct options are only 2. Okay, and then number of options selected, let's say you select only one option, but let's say whatever you selected is not correct. Number of selected options correct, let's say you selected one and that is wrong, so 0, right? So since you selected 0 correct options, you get 0 points, and since you selected one wrong option, you get one negative point. This is -1. So 0 minus 1 is -1 actually, but you cannot get negative, so you will be given 0. That's how it works. Let's say a second possibility, 5 options are given, 2 are correct, and you selected one and that one is correct. So for since you selected one correct option, you'll get +1, and since you did not make any wrong selections, you'll get 0. You'll not get any negative points. So 1 plus 0 is again 1. This is a other possibility. Let's talk about the seventh possibility. Let's say there are 5 options and 2 are only correct. Let's say you made 3 selections. Okay, and the number of, out of the 3, let's say only 1 is correct, so you'll get 1 point for the correct one. And since 2 of the selections out of the 3 that you made are wrong, so you lose 2 marks. So 1 minus 2 is actually -1, but you'll get 0. You'll not get -1. Okay, so this is just a table. Go through the table, you'll understand. So these are just possibilities: 1 2 3 4 5. All 5 option response is what I have given as example. There can be 6 response options and 7, so there are more possibilities, but I did not put them here. So okay, and I've assumed that for every question there are only going to be 2 correct answers. They can be 3 also, but this is just example, so let's assume only 2 are correct. And then how many selections do you make? 1 selection, 2 selection, or 3 selection? There are different possibilities. Okay, okay, so from this slide all you need to understand is you cannot score less than 0 in multiple choice multiple answer questions. Okay, okay, now a little bit background on how to approach this particular task and solve it. um, okay, remember, in the exam, don't forget. If you forget and just select something, you're going to get negative points and lose some valuable points. So just keep it in your head, there are negative points. So remember, do not select where you are unsure. Point number one. Number two, quantitative words. So what are these quantitative words? They quantify something. Okay, like these words, right? Let's say 0%. A low okay, let's say there is something like, let's say that all subjects, uh, all students in the class have passed in a particular year. That means everybody in the school has passed, in the class has passed. If somebody says most of the students passed, that means a majority of percentage has passed, have passed, but some did not pass. That's what it means. So there is a lot of difference between most and all of us know this, but we commit mistakes here only. What happens is, in the text, everything will match except that word all and most, and we will select most and it will be wrong. That's why be careful of these quantitative words. So read this. Okay, some of the quantitative words are none, never, no one, not, nobody, no way, which means zero, 100% zero, absolutely zero. And absolutely 100% is all, always, every, must, everybody, each and every. More higher percent is most, almost, several, usually, much, many, and all these words. Okay, and these confusing words, some doesn't mean anything. Some have passed, some have failed. That doesn't mean that 50% have passed and 50, it doesn't mean that. Okay, some means some, we don't know what some means, and just is just. So be careful with these words, because this is where the confusion happens and we lose points. Okay, so this is one of the tricks I'm going to tell you, how to eliminate incorrect options and uh, maybe figure out the right answer. Okay, okay, so before we talk about the actual strategy, let's talk about time management. So I have explained clearly in the time management reading video. Watch that video, and with uh, the global understanding, right? If you don't watch that video, you will not understand why I'm asking to uh, take up to 2 minutes for first two questions. So it's very important to watch that video. That's when you will understand why I'm asking to use up to 2 minutes for the first two questions. The reason is, there is a little time to solve all the questions in reading section, and we need to manage time properly. Otherwise you'll run into a situation where you will spend a lot of time in some questions which do not carry a lot of weightage, like multiple choice multiple answer questions do not carry a lot of weightage. If you are able to score 50% of marks in this particular section, that is enough. So our target is only to score 50% of marks in multiple choice multiple answer. And why it's only 50%, I've explained in that video, so watch that video. Bottom line here is, use up to 2 minutes for the first two questions. Remember, we have two or three questions, right? See this, two or three questions. So first two questions everybody is going to get. So for those 2 minutes we will use up to 2 minutes, and if third question comes, then you will use the extra 2 minutes, because if an extra question comes you will get 2 more minutes. So third questions you will use full 2 minutes. For the first two questions you will use only 2 minutes. Okay, so now what to do with those, within those 2 minutes? Do these things. Okay, first make a decision, are you going to solve the first question or not? Should you solve first question in multiple choice multiple answer question or not? Take 10 seconds for it. And how to make this decision, I'll explain you. Okay, let's say if you decided to solve the first question, then you have 1 minute and 50 seconds, go ahead and solve one question. So all you are trying to do is take 2 minutes, because see, the text length is 300 words. Even if you read at 150 words per minute, you will take 1 minute to read 150 words, and then there will be 150 more words. So 2 minutes will go in reading the entire 300 words text. That's why it's better to allocate more time in single question rather than trying to complete one question in 30 seconds or 1 minute. It's difficult, it's not easy. Again, we don't have to read the entire 300 words, but my point is better to take more time and make sure you get 50% marks. And if you can get 50% marks, and then it doesn't matter whether you solve it in 30 seconds, 10 seconds, 50 seconds, 1 minute, or what. So best, my suggestion is, decide whether you want to do the first question or not. And if you want to do it, take your time, take up to 2 minutes, and do the first question perfectly and get at least two right. Okay, so in the next 1 minute and 50 seconds, you must ensure you find at least two correct options in this time. And if you are able to solve the first question in less than 2 minutes, then go to the second question and try to get at least one correct option. And if you are able to get it, good, tick that one answer, click next, and move on. If you are not able to get the first correct one option which is correct, then just tick X options. What is this X? I'll explain you later. Make some selections and move on. So in all, we can spend only 2 minutes in the first two questions. Okay, so what is the other possibility? Let's say you decide that you will not solve the first question, okay, for whatever reason. Maybe the text length is too high, maybe you don't understand some vocabulary words, you don't understand some synonym words, maybe you are afraid that you might end up choosing wrong answer. So you can skip the first question, right? Don't do the first question, just select some random options in the first question and move on to the second question. Okay, so that decision of whether you want to do the first question or not, you must do in 10 seconds is what I'm saying. And then when you go to the second question, obviously you have 1 minute and 50 seconds. Regardless of how easy or difficult the second question is, you must select at least two correct options. Okay, so read these slides, pause the video, read these slides, but bottom line is 2 minutes for the first two questions, and we are only solving one question with the proper concentration. The second question, we are making some random selections so that we get 50% of marks. If the third question comes, right, if the third question comes after the 2 minutes, then you will take 2 more minutes and solve it, that you know. Okay, excuse me. Now, what is our strategy to solve or decide which one to solve? Okay, first, roughly count the number of paragraphs. Okay, so count the number of paragraphs in the given text and read and understand the question first. So when you count the paragraphs, you will understand whether it's a 100 word paragraph, 150 word. See, if a 150 word paragraph comes it right, just do it, because the length is shorter. It's easy to read it, and it's easy to find the answers. That is one of the tricks where you will decide whether you will do the first question or not. After you decide that, you read the first question clearly. You need to understand the question, okay, and then scan the response options. In the response options, there will be some common words, or synonyms, or words relevant to the question, or quantitative words. So these three kind of words will be there in the response option: common words, synonyms, words relevant to the given question, or quantitative words. See for these options, and if then scan the given text to find areas in the text that you need to read. If we are not going to read the entire text, we will only read the areas of text where the answers could be. Okay, so you read these three rules and try to follow this. That is when you can decide whether you want to solve the first question or not. And if you decide to solve it, go ahead and solve it, eliminate options and solve it. If you don't want to solve it, then just stop thinking about first question, just skip, select random options, X options, and move to the next question. And then in the next question, you must target to get 50%. Okay, if third question comes, obviously you follow the first three rules. Just count paragraphs, read question, understand options, scan the areas of text, and solve the second question. So this is the simple fundamental basic approach to solve multiple choice multiple questions. Okay, so now I'll give you some examples. Okay, so let's say this is the first question that comes up in your exam. What are you going to do? Count the paragraphs, one, two, three, and there is something here, right? So about 200 words. So we know that this text is about 200 words because it is like 150 or 180 and some more words here, right? So let's say 200 words. It's okay. 200 words is what it is. And then let's read the question. Which of the following are facts specially concerning the ethnicity of the citizens of Botswana? That's the question. So they are specifically asking about ethnicity of citizens of Botswana. That is the question. Now you understand the question. Let's scan the options. See here, just. Just is a quantitative word. Okay. Most, very few, most, no, average also. All these green underlines are the quantitative words. So what it means is it the question is trying to trick you into selecting wrong answer. Let's see these two options, right? Most Botswana speak the official language. Most citizens of Botswana have no religious affiliation. See, just the percentage is what they're talking. Okay, that is the second thing. We scan the quantitative words, then you can see the common words, right? Like ethnicity is there, and religion is there. Okay, something like this. So then, if you see this table, luckily we have a table here. Ethnicity is here, right? Correct? Yeah. So I will say that it's easy to solve this question and get two answers correct. So I will decide to go ahead and continue solving this. Read the options properly, find out the answers. Okay. These yellow ones are the actual correct answers. This is from the this slide is from the mock test video that I put up like couple of weeks back. It's from the original practice tests. So that's the approach. Okay, now let's skip to the second thing. Now let's say we get this question. Now see the paragraph 1 2 3. So again about 150 to 180 words, and then what which of the following statements are correct with reference to colors of this flag, Irish flag? Again there are many, most, little, things like that. And then there is green signifies. So if you see the paragraph, right, see why orange. So this obviously this is the kind of a title for the paragraph, and then green for the emerald isle. I don't know what how to spell pronounce this, but this is about green, this is about orange. uh, so we understand that okay, if we have to look about orange we have to read this, if we have to look about green we have to read this. So again this question is also easy to solve. Okay, so such questions like this one or this one, it's easier, a bit easier, because the text is short and there are we can in the first 10 seconds you can understand whether it will be easy to solve this or difficult to solve this. If it's easy to solve this, go ahead and solve this. Okay, now let's see another example. Now this has 1 2 3 4 text 4 paragraphs, obviously 200 words or more, something like that. And then let's see, according to the text, which of the following statements can be concluded about primary schools in Turks and Caicos Island? Multigrade classes are mainly found in smaller classes. So again, mainly does not mean 100%, right? Mainly means majority of them. Most, most, all these things, right? Again, quantitative words. And then can choose. These yellow ones are also quantitative words, but not exactly quantitative. They are can choose means they must choose, they can choose, so the parents have option to choose, that's what it means. So don't get confused with these kind of words, right? Found in smaller schools, make note they are only talking about smaller schools here. Just things like that. So if I were to compare the first two questions with this third question, I would randomly select something in this third question and solve these first two questions. That's what I want to show you guys. If the text is lengthy, there is one more thing, right? Common words, right? Common words in multigrade classes, multigrade school, mixed ability classes, multigrade classes. There is a lot of discussion about multigrade classes, right? So if you see the text, where is multigrade here? See, that's how you're going to scan in the real exam, right? Mixed ability. See, multigrade, multigrade, multigrade. So maybe in these two paragraphs you'll find the answer. Okay, that's just how you should be scanning this and doing. Okay, guys. So I'll give you one more quick thought or trick, you can say. So in the possibilities, right, I've added one more. So let's talk about the five options. Let's say that without even reading, let's say you did not even read the entire text or nothing. You don't have time. Let's say you don't have time, but you want to make some selection. So what is the right thing to do? Should you select one? Should you select two, three? Let's see. Okay, so this example shows about the number of options, only five. So we are only talking about a question where you'll have only five options. And should you be making one selection, two selection, three selections, or what we should what is this discussion about? Okay, so again, go through this entire table. It was the same table that was shown in the first couple of slides. I've just added this last phrase, last table, where three options can be correct. Actual number of correct options, three, right? Not only two, sometimes three can be correct as well. So what happens in that case? So if you select one, either it's right or wrong. So 50% chances of getting it right. Actually, the probability is not 50% because out of the five, if you're selecting only one, right, it's 1 by 5. So it's not 50%. It's less than 50%. But let's say, just to understand in simple terms, if you tick it, you're either going to get correct or wrong. Okay, so 50%. In if you select two, if both are wrong, then you'll get 0. If one is right, one is wrong, you'll still get 0. If two are correct, only then you'll get 2 points. But see, so it's like 33%. Okay, out of the three possible three things, you'll get 33%. So is it possible that you'll select two and 100% those two will be correct? Most likely no. At least one will be wrong. That means you're going to get 0. So selecting two options is the worst thing that you can do. Selecting one option is better than selecting two options, because most of the times you will not get it. Let's say you make three selections, but since only two are correct, so out of the three that you select, if none of them are right, you will get 0. One is right, two are wrong, 0 again. If two are right, one is wrong, then you will get 1 point. So out of the three selections, if two are right and one is wrong, so do you think that you will be able to get two right out of the three you select from the five options? Maybe you will. So which one is better? Selecting one option is better or selecting three options is better? And we don't even know how many are going to be right. Are the actual correct answers only two or three? If say there are three correct answers and you select three, right? If 0 is right, 0 marks. If 1 is right, 0 marks because two are wrong. If two are right and one is wrong, so you'll get 1 point. If three out of the three are right, you'll get 3 points. Okay, and most this case, right, having three answers correct in the five options, this is rare. This is not so frequent. Generally in the five options thing, only two answers are correct, but we never know, three can also be correct. So now you decide what is the right thing to do if you want to make some random selection without reading. Should you be selecting one, two, three? I will say that select three. Okay, if you select three, either you're going to get 0, which you will get here anyways, right? In any of these things. So if you really talk about the probabilities, if you calculate the probabilities, right, for a random selection there is a high probability to get 0. Even you select 1, 2 or 3, even there are only two correct options or three correct options, the higher probability will fall in such a way that we are going to get 0. So when we are getting 0 anyways, why don't you make three selections? Maybe you will get one correct or three correct, right? So I will suggest, if you want to read select something without reading, select three answers. Okay, that was the thing. And by doing this random selection, right, we are anyway spending 2 minutes to uh, get 2 points correctly from the first two questions. So 150% of marks you already got. And in the third question, we will not select randomly. We will spend time, make sure we get the uh, two right answers in the third question. So in the first two questions, whichever one you solve, you are getting 50%. In the one which you don't want to solve, if you want to do random selections, select three. That's all, guys. Any questions in the multiple choice questions you ask, but I think it's should be clear to you all. Uh, Again, just to before concluding, I want to just say it out. Count the paragraphs, read the text, scan the options, scan text. Decide whether you want to solve first question or not. If you decided, go ahead and solve it. If you don't want to solve it, select three and skip to the second question. That is my suggestion on multiple choice, multiple questions. You can again go through the slides, read out if you want. I've explained it clearly. If you have any questions, you can ask. Thank you very much for watching. Bye, guys.